Presented from the Aishin Broadcast Studio at Babcock's Media.
Well, hey, what's going on, Engine Builder fans? I'm Greg Jones, and welcome to another episode of Industry Insiders. Joining me today as our guest is Morgan Lucas, CEO of Lucas Oil Products. Morgan, how you doing today? Thanks for joining us.
I'm great. I really appreciate you having me on. Love talking about oil, love talking about engines. It's a good combination for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And, again, I'm not the first one to congratulate you, but I do want to say congrats on the new role as CEO over there at Lucas Oil. That I'm sure that's got to be exciting for you, and a whole new host of things on your plate now moving forward. Morgan, obviously, with this being, your family business, it's, something that's not new to you. But I wanted to start off by asking you, what some of those roles that you've had in the past at Lucas Oil have been, and if you had a favorite or one that you maybe didn't get a chance to do that you wish you did.
It's kind of funny. I feel like done a little bit of everything in this company to some extent. Some by choice, some by obligation.
Yeah.
But it's nice, I think, to be in a family business and have the opportunity to be well-rounded. I used to spend my summers and winter breaks and, weekday afternoons, whenever was needed, even as a kid, helping out in lines, doing things, probably getting in the way more than anything. Then my racing career took off, and I spent a lot of time doing that, but it didn't completely remove me from the business. Still had regular engagement with people within the company as it grew and changed. And then when my wife and I, my amazing and much too good-looking wife and brilliant person, she and I started having kids, who realized it's, there's no good time to step out of racing. It's a passion. It's almost like a drug in some cases. It's a lifestyle. You're entrenched in it. The people that you spend most of your time with are there. But I also know what it's like to grow up with parents that are extremely busy and working really hard to provide a life. And I wanted to find some balance to that with my kids. So I decided to bail from racing, jump into the family business. My first big step was with the sales team to identify and understand our customer and what that had evolved from my childhood through those racing years to what it was, and spent a few years there. Really enjoyed that process. We have a great sales team, a lot of really good guys that are hungry and constantly out trying to close deals. That just like any good salesman would. But it's nice when you look at a sales team because we believe in our products, so we feel like we're helping people every time they close the deal. Yeah. I jumped from that, and in that role, there was definitely a generalist secondary in that situation where it was involved in a lot of day-to-day decisions, helping my father from an advisor situation, and I really enjoyed that. Really gave me an opportunity to, I guess, make decisions without getting too far onto the deep end. And I learned a lot about the business and the people. And that's been an amazing growth opportunity in itself. And then when I took over the presidency, that in large part was to take a lot of load off my father and my mother at that point. Lucas Oil is, as we call it here, the mothership. And there's a lot of auxiliary, businesses and things that my parents have been involved in that spin off of that hub, and a lot of that still runs right here through our corporate office. And it's been a pleasure to get to know that. Now with the CEO role, it's fun. It's been a learning curve in and of its own.
Yeah, I can only imagine. And as you just pointed out, it's great that you've had those different experiences over the years and different aspects of the business. So Morgan, I wanted to elaborate there, particularly with the sales role and then with the president role. how is being CEO a little bit different than what you were doing in those past two positions?
I think they're very intertwined, sales and day-to-days within the company, because, as most companies, your sales is your backbone, right? For us, we're very hungry to grow and to maintain a growth path from both a footprint across the globe to also a product offering. And that stuff takes challenges, and that's where the beauty of it is for me in the CEO role, is that I get to carry on my parents' legacy a little bit, try to maintain that family business atmosphere, but not losing sight of our valued customers and the people that we know have boots on the ground out there trying to move our product as well.
Morgan, when I've done some other interviews with CEOs or executives of companies in the industry, especially when they're new to that position or just trying to get familiar with the company, there's usually call it a 6-month period where they're doing various things to adjust to all that. In your case, you've been familiar with the company. Again, it's a newer role, but what is your first 5-6 months been like in the position? What's been the focus for you and the goal moving forward?
It's a philosophical change, and to some degree, you're not as involved in some of the day-to-days in some aspects, and you're more involved in others. Your worries, your concerns, the things that keep you up at night change or shift or maybe even grow in magnitude. But we also, myself, and I say we because my wife and I really, we tag team this whole thing. She's a great partner to have in this. She's very business savvy, much more patient, I think, when it comes to dealing with HR and all the other fun front office stuff that's not my specialty. And she's got a great marketing mind on her as well. So we balance each other out quite a bit. Hence why she's the president at this point. It's justified. She is a hard worker and really dedicated to this. But, for me, the focus is, as a CEO, is really thinking about what the long term for this company is going to look like from a product offering standpoint to, where's our focus going to be?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Morgan, something I wanted to bring up is, you're on the younger side of the scale when most people think of a CEO, especially at a larger company such as Lucas Oil. Do you want to speak to whether your age is going to have any impact, or just kind of your mentality about the business or the industry, how that might change what you guys are doing versus, if it was someone a little bit older at the helm?
I think, if you're looking at the stereotypes of the average age of a CEO, yes, that definitely, I think, sends a message. But I have enough experience within this company of the years of it growing up around it. My parents really started this when I was 5 years old.
Yeah.
So most of my life has been around this. So institutionally, I have a plethora of knowledge in that situation. I also, and this is not bragging on myself, it's just saying that, growing up in this business gives you a little bit of an advantage. And I think where I'm really blessed, again, with my wife, but also the mindset that we have is we don't know what we don't know. We've really tried to hire some good talent, some good team members here to try to look at things from all angles and find, when we're looking at charting a course for the future, there's going to be a lot of questions, and having the right team in place to help, again, with day-to-days, to help answer those almost intangible questions, it has been a real good thing for us. You can't be too proud to ask questions. You can't be too proud to admit you don't know. And you also can't be too proud to get out of the way when you need to. And to me, we have a really good team. I feel very fortunate to be part of this team. And it kind of goes back to racing. I had a great team there, people that I spent, most of my life with. And, I wouldn't trade those years. And I can look ahead and know that I'm going to have a very similar situation here.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I wasn't really trying to say that the young age had anything to do with inexperience, more so like the mentality of maybe a younger person versus an older person in the business world. If there's anything that you're looking forward to implementing that maybe the company wouldn't have implemented, or just a direction that you're looking to go that's maybe different. But yeah, I mean, what you said definitely hits the nail on the head.
I think part of what I want to see with the company is trying to find that happy medium between the family business that cares and respects its employees and team members, and also I think that well-oiled machine, no pun intended, when it comes to a corporate environment, to understand policy, procedure, trying to chart out a map for succession planning and all these things, trying to really, I think, create a structurally sound business for the long haul. We want a place for our kids to work, and looking at beefing up our research and our analytics department and reinvesting into our R&D team and into the things that we're doing there. It's just part of the process, and something that I see that needs to happen. And when you look at all the marketing we've done over the years, we have, I think, fairly decent brand awareness, but I think we're still reaching people in a way of helping them understand how we can benefit them on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, definitely. Very good. So Morgan, I wanted to ask you, again, as you get deeper into the CEO role, what have been some of those challenges that the company has been facing? What are some of those maybe top 2-3 things that are on your to-do list now that you're at the helm? And what are some of the ways that you're looking to overcome some of that?
Well, there are a lot of variables. Again, being a small family business, mid-sized family business, however you would like to look at who we are and where we are, that's a situation where we have the opportunity to be nimble and flexible, and we also have to look at things like the electrification of the automotive space. The selfish side of me is not a fan of it. I think the science is there to prove that they're not as efficient for the environment as it's originally been claimed. But I also know that that's part of life, and we don't have any control over that. So we're really trying to be good at playing the cards that we're dealt, and staying ahead of that and that side of it. But again, you look at everything from interest rates and where they're going, and inflation, and how stretched the dollar has become for an average household. That's where it's critical for us to make sure we're explaining to people how we can save them money and how we can save them time, keep them at work or keep them at the ballpark or whatever it is that they do or need to be doing. But those are some variables that we have to look at. And when we consider that, we have to look at new markets. We have to consider international growth and those opportunities. And also, rounding off our lineup from a lubricant standpoint. There's things that, even with the multitude of part numbers that we haven't, I think, really scratched the surface on how to be the best that we can. But that also means that we need to also look at other verticals and other areas where we can get into and do what we've always been good at doing, and that is making a top quality, top notch product that we know will benefit the consumer at the end of the day.
So Morgan, you touched on a couple things there that I want to dive deeper into. And we'll start with what you just said there at the end of your answer, related to products and market segments. What are some of those vehicle markets or product categories that you guys have a focus on lately? Is there are a couple things that are rising to the top over others?
In my opinion, and I think statistically it's easy to prove, that you're going to see for us over the next 10 years a massive, I think, takeover in the volume of these smaller turbocharged engines on the road. Hybrids are going to be the lion's share, probably within the next 10 to 15 years. And we have a lot of focus on that in that space because when you put a turbo on something, it does cause other issues of wear and tear. There's a lot more sensors, a lot more issues with cars that can, I think, hold people up from a day-to-day standpoint. That's a really big one, but I also believe that the international side, as I mentioned before, there's a lot of countries out there that have a lot of vehicles that are really good fits for Lucas Oil, and we feel like we're a really good fit for them. In our own way, we feel like we're slowing down consumption and improving efficiency on vehicles, and some twist away that's kind of better for the environment in its own right. But as we look at that, those lead to a lot of other things. We are right now, we're getting ready to launch a new grease facility, which I'm sure we're going to talk a little bit more on. But
yeah,
another cool product we're coming out with, it's an emissions clear. It's a product that there's a lot of newer products coming out on the market, and I'm going to say it like this: that have products that you enter into the fuel system that are making claims to clean catalytic converters and things like that. I don't know how efficient those products are, and I'm not going to put them down, but to me, running anything through the combustion cycle is going to make it harder for a catalytic converter to, I think, absorb anything that would clean it. But what you can do is you can clean the fuel system, and you can clean the combustion chamber, and you can completely clean the fuel system process and the exhaust process of what's actually going in. And that is actually going to be the best thing you could do for your catalytic converter, is prevent the need for replacement and the wear and tear that could happen in that situation. And not to mention, it's going to reduce a lot of NOx emissions and we're in a testing phase with it, but we're really pleased with what we're seeing with the product, and we're anticipating a launch later this year, early next year.
Presented from the Aishin Broadcast Studio at Babcox Media.
Very good. Yeah, so that fuel area is a big focus for you guys then lately.
It is. Cars have become more efficient. They really have. Engines are lasting longer, and look, I for one love it. I think that any of our company feels the same way. The problems still happen. I was working customer service once when I first got out of racing for a couple weeks. It wasn't a long tenure, but it was still enough to just really understand the direct end user and their questions. And a woman had called, and she worked 2 jobs in separate sides of the town where she lived, and she was explaining how her transmission started to slip. And so she went to the shop, and they were talking about how long the car was going to be down. And that was the issue for her, because she was providing for her daughter and grandchildren.
Right.
So it was the downtime was the biggest issue. And she had mentioned that she went to a parts store, and the counterman recommended our product, our transmission fix, helped her put it in. And she said that it immediately stopped slipping. It was one of those things where for her, it was a miracle drug. And knowing that we're helping solve some of those problems for someone like that that's what keeps us going in the situation. We're striving to try to make new products, and we're trying to look at the overall focus. And so knowing that fuel systems are going to be an issue, knowing that these transmission issues are still going to happen, and you're still going to have seal leaks. This is life.
Yeah.
We saw what happened during COVID. I mean, the used car market spiked because manufacturing was so far down.
Oh yeah.
And we like to believe that we helped people with their needs in that situation. And it's not a brag. It's just when we stay focused on our North Star, which is our customer, it helps keep us going in the right direction.
Right. No, excellent. Yeah, I mean, downtime, whether it's just your regular person with an everyday car, or someone in agriculture, or something within the industrial applications, downtime is definitely the number one thing they don't want to have. So yeah, when you got products that can help solve that, that's great.
Yeah, more people today are relying on their vehicles to make a living than ever before.
Yeah,
I know there's a lot of younger people that are using their, e-bikes and all their stuff, and that's great. But the DoorDash and Instacart drivers of the world and Ubers, those people depend on their vehicles to keep going. And I'd like to believe that, hopefully word of mouth works in that situation. They start talking about how they're, extending drain intervals or getting better fuel economy.
So Morgan, sticking with the product category here, you guys do a lot of different stuff, from oils to fuel products to cleaners. How does some of the development for those new products differ? When you guys are coming out with a new oil, how does that differ from something that might be for the fuel system or a different application? Is it similar, or is it vastly different?
I mean, obviously a car care product versus a, fuel system product is going to be different in that process. But, I look at things that we do with our partnership with Richard Childress and his engine program. We work hard to develop product. It gets dyno tested and proved out. We develop products that are overkill for the most rigorous spaces and industries, and then we could take that technology and reapply it into your everyday vehicle. That's a hard part for us. We're so involved in motorsports, but people see us as just an additive company. But we make products for all these different spaces with the exact intent of being the best that we can in those spaces as well. But, we do, and we are stepping up our game when it comes to testing. We're going to be doing a lot more third-party testing, a lot more, tangible results testing for the customers, something that is relatable and understandable for them. When it comes to development in that situation, we try to just look at the problems that exist in the marketplace and attack those problems. Because again, not to be a broken record, our job is to save people money, save people time, and problems cause people issues with money and time, and hopefully we can fix that.
Now, Morgan, you earlier hinted that you guys have a new grease plant opening up in Indiana there, and at the time that this video will be posted, it'll probably have been open for a little bit. But can you give the folks a little background as to how that plant kind of came about, why it was needed, and then ultimately, what kind of products are going to be coming through there and how it's going to help the company?
I'm really excited about our grease plant. Something I've wanted to do for probably 8 years. Back when I was initially with the sales program, it seemed like a really good opportunity. Sales were constantly going up. But we had, at that time, were formulating grease and outsourcing production because it's specialized. It's specialized equipment, and it is a large investment.
Yeah.
And that's, like any company, you have to pick and choose where you're going to put your capital investments and how you're going to try to grow your business. And as I mentioned earlier, reinvesting into the long term of this company from a growth standpoint is a top priority for us. And one of our main suppliers of grease, and this is a few years back now, they had a fire at their facility. And after it was over, they didn't rebuild. The ripple that it had in our space in the industry was just a huge just vacuum for a need for somebody to step up and produce more grease just to keep up with the demand. There are a lot of grease manufacturers, but there's not a lot of them that really care about the premium quality that goes out to the customer. It's not a commodity, in my opinion, because it is serving a massive purpose. And you mentioned agriculture earlier, or industrial. Those are people that depend on their equipment to make their money and to earn a living, provide. So for me, we wanted to make sure that we were monitoring quality. We wanted to make sure that we had plenty of supply. And those two things were really, I think, the two drivers for it. And that's just kind of taking control of our own destiny in that situation. It was a big step, big commitment. Our team has worked really hard. I know I say that. I mean, it's we don't do anything the easy way. I don't think sometimes, but we have a great team down in Southern Indiana. Uh, just really proud of all the effort that they put in to get us to where we're at right now.
Yeah, that's excellent. Morgan, can you tell the folks, kind of the size of this plant and, how many people are going to, be working there now?
Well, it's roughly this grease plant, this facility is going to be about 25,000 square feet. It's not huge because
Okay.
it's already attached to one of our main buildings, so its product will be produced, packaged, and then put on the floor for delivery.
Okay.
So that's another nice part about it is we already had the space. So that worked out. But it's going to employ about 5 people. Grease is
Okay.
a slower process. And we've implemented a lot of automation in that process as well. And that's actually something we've done a lot over the years is automating our processes in order to never replace a human being, but to advance our capability, try to keep up with demand and keep things rolling. So the grease plant is going to be very state of the art in that regard. And we're going to start with making, I think, 3 different grease formulations, and with the hope of expanding into more in the future.
Well, no, like you said, you're excited, and I'm sure a bunch of folks at Lucas Oil are excited that you guys have stepped up there, and that'll be opening, about a week from when this interview is happening. But once it's out, that plant will be open and up and running. So that's awesome. Morgan, I wanted to go back to a comment you were making about electric vehicles and that environment, and obviously the growth in that segment. There's a lot of different reasons behind it, but just from your perspective and a Lucas Oil perspective, obviously, you guys have much more invested in the gas side of things. So is that a market that you guys are embracing to any degree? Is there any room for Lucas Oil products within the EV segment? Or, as you mentioned, are you guys really just focused on keeping the gas vehicles and gas engines and stuff, running smooth?
Our primary focus is definitely to keep gas engines running smooth, but we have our eye on the EV space. They don't take a lot of lubricants, and that's obviously what they're designed for, right? I am skeptical at best. I feel like, if I were advising anybody on a type of car to buy right now, if they had a balanced concern for the environment, for economy and efficiency, I would recommend a hybrid completely. I think that, we're looking at technology that is, and when I say an internal combustion engine, I mean, we're dealing with 130 years of technology,
right?
Plus, versus what we're seeing right now. I would never buy a car that I can't drive 400 miles, 300 miles on a tank of, gas, and then refill and be back on the road in 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And that's not a knock on anybody that does. We are very open-minded to the fact that this space, there's room for everybody here. I don't like that it's becoming such a mandated, forced down everyone's throat process, but I can't do anything about that. And again, you can only control what you can control. And for us, it's going back to, the combustion engine, to hydraulic systems, to gearboxes, differentials. And there's a lot of space for us to grow outside of just the automotive space or market. And we're going to try to do that the best we can.
Yeah, Morgan, I mean, I think I share similar feelings about most of that. Certainly when it comes to EV, range and the infrastructure, it just doesn't seem like it's all there quite yet. It's certainly not within the timeframes that many people believe it will be. So, time will tell. Like you said, there's not much we can do about it, but continue to focus on what our goals are. So, and to that, Morgan, obviously, our audience here is primarily professional engine builders. We got a lot of racers and performance enthusiasts who tune into our content. So for those guys, is there anything that you want to tell them about the direction forward at Lucas Oil?
I think that the engine builders in this world are fantastic people because in their own right, they're artists. They're always squeaking for horsepower and looking at ways to improve their craft. And I think that is such a fantastic industry. And my years of racing, I've dealt with a lot of guys, whether it's manufacturing parts or, building engines for different bracket cars that I had in drag racing. And again, to that point, you're talking about a knowledge that is earned over a long period of time of just working hard. And for us, again, we partner with Richard Childress. We've partnered with other people to try to just test out products. But one thing I love about the motorsport space and I respect is how loyal engine builders are to their brands and to their people. We hope that these guys will give us a try, give us feedback, tell us what we can improve on, how it could be better. We want to be able to deliver for all spaces because, that's just who we are. We're a company that sells, wholesale to retailers, but we have this really cool boutique function, so to speak, that we like to create things that are new and fun, cutting edge. We are a, oil company that deals, like I said, primarily in the retail space, but motorsports is a massive passion for us, and we want to help it grow, and we want to help find extra horsepower for people if we can. So don't forget about us. We appreciate what you do.
Yeah, excellent. Well, Morgan, I really do appreciate the time today. Really pleasure getting to know you more and getting to hear about what some of the initiatives and goals are moving forward at Lucas Oil. Before we wrap up, I just want to turn it to you if there's anything else on your mind or just anything else that we didn't quite touch on that you want to let the audience know about.
We're just a bunch of real people here in our office, just, trying to do the best we can to keep the ship moving in the right direction. We're proud of this company and where it is. And we're excited about the opportunity to grow in front of us. But we can't do that without the loyalty and the people that are out there using our products every day, and we appreciate them. From just a point of view, I want to encourage all consumers of products to do their homework, understand what they're purchasing and where they're investing their dollars, because there's a lot of products out there that are, I think, doing harm to our space. And we feel that we are really trying to stick behind the claims that we make. So just, love that you take care of your cars. We love that you're tuned into such an amazing, program like this, and you're educating yourself. And we just thank you for all of that.
Excellent. No, that was well said. Again, Morgan, really want to say thank you for your time today, and appreciate you being on this episode of Industry Insiders.
No, I really appreciate you having me.
Yeah. Guys, we appreciate all you there watching at home. Make sure you guys are checking out everything that Morgan and his team have going on at Lucas Oil Products. And as always, make sure you're checking out enginebuildermag.com for more great engine content. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.